All right, so this is the dead letter inbox. So here I am. I'm gonna answer some questions. I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to do, just to get me more used to speaking into a microphone and recording myself. I was hoping to do this before the other video, but I actually didn't get any emails until like I was halfway through recording that, and then I just got this one. Again, it's cool, no biggie. It was just kind of an idea off the top of my head, to get me a little more comfortable with the mic. So I got this email from user 7x. I'm gonna assume that's how it's pronounced. I think this person is European, and I'm assuming the W is pronounced like a V. It makes more sense than Suinex, but Suinex might be the way it goes. Correct me. But until then, I'm gonna call you 7x. So here's the email. 7x says, "Can you tell us about the nastiest jobs you ever had? Guts falling out, maggots eating the flesh, and all that beauty. You sick fuck." um, yeah, I definitely can. I've already written about a couple of them in Baller Shot Collar. That one, the guy's testicles exploding. That was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my entire life. That was my first decomp. So, it holds a special place in my heart for disgusting things. That guy was so gross and he smelled so bad. And then when that happened, it was just, icing on the cake. And it was a gross cake. And then the little guy whose head fell off was really gross because he was just covered in maggots. I ended up with maggots just all over me too, and so did Gus. I had maggots on my shoulders, and it was like the worst kind of dandruff you can imagine. Just so gross. And I don't know how they got there. Yeah, it was nasty. Other than those, I mean, there were a bunch. I've mentioned in one of the other things I wrote about, I think I just mentioned it in passing, that I'd rather pick up a body, rotting in an Okeechobee trailer for 2 weeks. That comes from a real thing. I did exactly that. It was one of those little camper trailers that you pull with a truck. And so there was no AC, and it was the middle of the summer. And that guy had been in there for a couple of weeks. So he was really gross. He'd already split open. So yeah, he was, guts hanging out. Maggots were all over him. And that was the first time I degloved anybody. So if you're not familiar with the term degloving, we have to pull all their jewelry off and, put it in little evidence bags. When you go to pull somebody's ring off, if they've been rotting for a while, you end up pulling the skin off with it usually because they swell, and you can't just slide the ring off. The skin comes with it, and it's called degloving because it's like removing a surgical glove. That guy had a watch that I couldn't undo the clasp, but it had one of those stretchy bands. So I just kind of tried to stretch it and pull it off. I ended up taking the skin off of his whole hand, so I degloved his whole hand. It was literally like a glove. So that was pretty gross. I mean, there've been a bunch. Floaters are always really gross. Anytime somebody dies and ends up in the water, water just makes everything worse. They stink more. They rot more. They rot faster, and they're a giant pain in the ass to retrieve, even more than normal. And they fall apart. Water softens them up. It tenderizes them. So, you can go to pull somebody out of the water, and if they've been in there long enough, you grab them by the arm and go to pull, you might just yank their arm right off. It's happened. But yeah, some pretty gross ones out there. If I could think of more before I get to the end of this, I'll bring it up. Oh, yeah, actually, it just came to me. One of the grossest and also one of the funniest. I think he was about 85 and probably died of natural causes. He died in bed shaking hands with the milkman, if you get my drift. He was doing the deed, and he still had it in his hand when he died, and that's how he stayed. And he was watching some videos, and they were interesting videos. They were, Thai ladyboy videos. And look, I'm not kink shaming. I didn't check, but I'm just gonna assume that everybody was a consenting adult in these videos because that's the only way I'll be able to sleep at night. But he had hundreds of these DVDs lying around his room. I mean, they were on the floor, on the nightstand, on the dresser where the TV was. I'm pretty sure one of them was still playing on like a loop when police officers arrived. So yeah, that was pretty gross. Because he melted into the bed. Just his body fluids as he rotted started dissolving the bed material, and he kind of sank down into it. So he was kind of hard to get out. It was really, really gross. And as we lifted him, you could hear it leak through the bed and drip onto the floor underneath. Man, bringing back a lot of memories here. That was so gross. But yeah, so those are some of them. I'm probably going to write about a few of those here soon. So I don't want to get too descriptive and ruin it. All right, so moving on in the email. 7X says, I wonder if you ever could imagine having a typical 8 to 5 job in like an IT industry or some business field behind a desk and all that. If you would feel somewhat fulfilled, maybe. Do you feel fulfilled now with your job, or what is even your dream job? Okay, yeah, easy one. Before doing the dead body job, I came from a long history of working in restaurants as a bartender and waiter. I've done customer service in retail. I've worked in call centers. I've done construction. I installed hardwood flooring. I've done wiring. I even made women's underwear for a short time, which is a whole other Reddit post that I won't get into right now. So yeah, I've done a lot of jobs that are regular, 8 to 5 jobs. Some of them were desk jobs, some of them were labor. The dead body job was the exception to the rule. Did I feel fulfilled, or do I? Unless you're doing your dream job, are you really fulfilled? That's something I ask myself all the time. I mean, when I was doing hardwood floors and I would get one finished, installed and sanded and then coated, it's beautiful. It was almost like a work of art. So I could say that that was kind of fulfilling in a way. But the job overall, no, I wouldn't say it's fulfilling as a job because it wasn't really my dream job. My dream job is to be a writer. And I had put that on the back burner for years until all you wonderful Redditors decided to give me a swift kick in the ass. And now I think I'm going to make a go of it and see what happens. It's exciting and scary, but it's all I've ever wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. So, that's what I'm going to go for. All right, continuing on. Also, you don't have to answer if it makes you uncomfortable, but do you have kids? Family besides Madison. Sorry if I didn't catch it, if you wrote it somewhere. How do I say this? Madison and me are no longer together. That ended years ago, which is cool. It's fine. It was what it was, and I'm happy where I'm at. I have a girlfriend now. She has 2 kids. She has a daughter that just turned 15 and a son that just turned 18, so they're pretty much grown. And they're great. I adore them, and we're all happy. I've got a brother who's my best friend in the whole world. He's wonderful. I was born to a mother and father like most people. No, I love my family. I love my all my people that I keep around me. So, things are pretty good on that end. All right. And then 7X says, and one last one. Have you ever visited Europe before? If not, or if you could visit some city, which one would it be? And that's a tough one. The first part's easy. Yes, I have. I would like to go back. I can't pick a single city, to be honest with you. I can't pick a single country. The world is a big, beautiful place with a lot to offer. And, it's tragic that I'll never be able to see every single place in the whole world. But I can, see as much of it as I can. So picking one, I don't think I could. If I had to pick one right now to go to for a starting point, I mean, it'd probably be something easy so that, it could be a good, like, jumping off point for going elsewhere. So it'd be somewhere where English is commonly spoken, somewhere where the culture isn't drastically different. So it's not, completely shocking. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Netherlands, feels like a good jumping off point to the rest of Europe. But I wouldn't even limit it to Europe. I mean, I would love to go all over Africa and Asia and, everywhere, to be honest. So I think traveling, seeing the world, man, it's got to be one of the greatest things. It really is. You get to experience so many different cultures and people, and it just makes you appreciate your own, and it makes you appreciate life and the world that you live in. And I think it builds a sense of empathy within you that you might not have otherwise. Like, it's a different kind of empathy. It's seeing how people live outside of your own culture. Kind of makes you a little more accepting and sensitive to how people think differently across the world. And I think that's an important thing. But that's the end of the email, 7X. I appreciate you emailing me. Hopefully we can do more of these, but if not, that's cool too. Like I said, it was just a thought off the top of my head to get in front of the microphone and ramble. I hope you guys like it. I hope you send emails, but if not, then I'll just continue on with the rest of the videos. And I will see you guys in the sub.